Hi everyone, welcome to a new episode of the podcast. So today I am speaking on Saturn moving into Aries and what that actually means for us. Um, so Saturn enters Aries on the 26th, the 26th of May 2025. So Um, when Saturn enters Aries, we have completed a full cycle of the zodiac. Um, a full cycle of the zodiac, Saturn moving through the 12 signs, and it takes 29 to 30 years. So this is a complete new beginning. So we're gonna have this transit. It enters Aries on the 26th of May. But it says there, it only stays there until like I have the dates written down until it goes retrograde on it starts going retrograde and then moves back into Pisces in September, and then it finally goes fully into Aries on the 13th of February 2006, and then it says there till 2028. So for the next few months, we're getting this like little, I suppose, introduction to what Aries, Saturn in Aries is actually like. And today I'm going to share with you, like, I'm going to be talking about like what that means for you, um, and how you can actually utilize it and benefit from it. So, Saturn. A lot of people actually fear Saturn, because Saturn comes with like limitations, which restrictions. However, what I've learned recently about Saturn is because Saturn's all about commitment and devotion and discipline. But Saturn like is all about reaping what you sow. So what I have learned over the last couple of months is when I tap into that Saturn energy of devotion, of devotion, of discipline, of commitment, then for me it was starting. I've started to feel this more aliveness because my Saturn in Capricorn is in the fifth house. So that's what how it would affect me. Like so Saturn isn't all that bad. Saturn is here to teach you some lessons, okay? But if you listen to those lessons and you pay attention and you work with those lessons, then you will grow and evolve and mature because that's what Saturn is all about, maturity. So so I'm going to give it a bit of an analogy that I was shown in regards to this transit, and then we can, I'll talk about, I'll go deeper into it. And just like if you don't know about Aries, Aries is all about like new beginnings, but Aries is very like, it's the baby of the zodiac, so it's very much like doing things, learning as it goes, and doing things for the first time. And Aries is like, Aries rules the head, and it's a ram, and it's very, very headstrong. So Aries doesn't think before it goes. Aries is very fast action, but doesn't think before it goes. Okay, it's connected to the divine masculine and the warrior archetype, the divine warrior archetype. So I have in my chart Saturn in Capricorn, and it squares my Mars in Aries. So I have like this aspect actually happening in my chart. So a few weeks ago when I was lying in bed, I got some analogies for my Saturn and Mars, but it also is connected to this because Mars rules Aries and they have similar energies, and Saturn is Saturn and it's in Capricorn. So they have similar energies as well. So what I got was like, this is time for you to step into the general energy. So be the general and not the soldier. And what that means is if you think of soldiers at war, or there is war going on, there is soldiers and then there's general. So it's the general that actually creates a plan. so that in order to win the war, or in order to survive the war. So they look at tactics, and they look at strategy, and they look at making a plan, and they look at it from every single angle possibly. And what I'm being shown is, I don't know if anybody watched Game of Thrones, but on that big table that you'd see all the different places, um, and you'd see them like making, when certain, like the Targaryens were going into war with somebody else, you'd see them on the board like moving things and saying, right, look at this angle and look at that. So that's really what this energy is about. It's about having structure, okay? Another one that it was shown was like, yeah, so just going back to that analogy, like if you are a soldier, which is very, very Aries, you're just going into battle, and you're not thinking, and you're not making plan, you're just going into battle to try and survive, okay? But this isn't about soldier or warrior energy, this is about general energy. This is like you are to make your plan, you are to create structures, and you are to create strategy, and not just to survive, but to thrive, because Saturn is actually all about thriving. Um, Aries is connected to our survival instincts, but this is all about thriving, not surviving. Another which I absolutely love. We all want to thrive, don't we? A lot of us are in survival mode. We want to thrive now. um, so another analogy I was shown was, as I said, Aries just jumps headfirst into things, doesn't think, and it's just gone. So I got this analogy of a bungee jump, which is very, very Aries. And in the bungee jump, Aries would just jump, and it would jump to its death. Okay, not even thinking. However, the analogy I got of Saturn in Aries was like, okay, you're going to do a bungee jump, but before you jump, so you don't jump to your death, you have to be strapped in. So you have to be strapped in. You have to make sure everything is tight, and make sure that you are secure. And that's what Saturn is, because Saturn is like is yeah, it structures and double checking everything. And what I'm seeing is how can I face this? Well, yeah, okay, I kind of, it'll come to me if it's supposed to. Yeah, but Saturn is about being strapped in and making sure that you are like everything is done correctly, so you are safe to jump. You're not going to jump to your death, you're going to jump, and then you're going to have this amazing experience if you're into bungee jumping. I'm not, never do it. And then you'll come back and you are alive, and you've had this experience that is like more is something beyond that what you expected. So there are the two analogies that I wanted to share in regards to Saturn in Aries, just to help you kind of understand, and if you were, and to gain an image, because sometimes I always feel that like analogies are really, really good, because these are just information that when we're listening to astrology, it's a lot of information, but sometimes if we can have visuals or analogies that help us understand different things, is really, really helpful. So just coming back to the Saturn in Aries, as I said, it's all about thriving, not surviving. So when we talk about Saturn, Saturn is associated with lessons. It can feel very, very restricting and limiting. And yeah, people fear Saturn, but as I said, if you actually work with the Saturn energy, it actually like helps us evolve, because Saturn is actually it's connected to our purpose, to our long-term vision. What we came here to do, and purpose means something different for everybody. But right, coming back to the purpose part of Saturn, right? When we think of our life purpose, it doesn't just happen like when we exit the womb. Or like when we finish school or whatever, like for a lot of us, we don't know what our purpose is till later in life. And that's very, very certain is later in life. Um, and it takes when we like start to get information and start to understand our purpose, it's like a building block, one thing at a time. And it's slow to build, which is certain is very much a slow burning process. And everybody, especially in this day and age, we want everything fast. And if you don't have a business that's succeeding within like 3 months, then you must be failing. If you don't have this fast, if you don't have fast, we live in a world that constantly wants things fast, but Saturn's like, you need to slow down because you're not getting what you want until like this is a process, and Saturn is all about processes. So Saturn is like the building blocks, okay? It is the archetype of the zodiac. So if you think, and I always go to this analogy, and this helps me like really center myself. If you think of a house that has been built 100 years ago, 80 years ago, they took their time building it. They took one brick at a time, which is very certain. But those foundations of those houses have, like even now, the foundations, the structures of the houses are like still intact. Nothing has happened though. If you compare a house 80, 100 years ago to a house being built now in 2025, those houses are thrown up so, so fast that a lot of them are actually collapsing within maybe 1, 2 years. So this is what Saturn is teaching us, like to take responsibility and to take our time. Um, Now Saturn also comes with limitations, okay? It shows us like Saturn is associated with like linear time. And we are in a human body. So we are limited, although our soul is limitless, our bodies are limited. And what we can do within a certain period of time is limited. And that's what Saturn, like, that's where the limitations come in. But what also are limitations that come in is like um it's connected to our limits and beliefs. Okay, so when I think of Saturn, I remember when I was doing my evolutionary astrology training, we were talking about Saturn, and somebody said something, I can't remember what it was about Saturn, but it just it 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 made me think of something. So Saturn is all about structure, okay? And yeah, it's all about structure, and it can be connected to what gets passed on, like so when we think of our ancestors and the DNA, like that gets passed on to us. So like the structure of the cells of the DNA, right? So what I was thinking of, the structure when we're in our cells, it has structure. Our DNA has structure, and through our cells, through our DNA, our limitations, like our ancestors' limitations, get passed on. Our ancestors' fears get passed on to us as well, which can prevent us from actually like expanding, from actually like stepping more into our purpose-filled path. So Saturn does come and ask us to face our fears and face our limitations, because actually they may not even be ours. So when we step into Aries energy, the archetype of Aries, this is a new phase, a completely new phase that we haven't experienced in 30 years. So we are that the world hasn't experienced in 30 years. Maybe you have never experienced it because you could actually be younger, or you could actually be having your Saturn return. So Um, yeah, so this is a new phase, a new beginning. Anytime something enters Aries, it's about a new beginning. And that's what Aries is all about. Aries is so fast acting. It's just came out of the womb. So it is, as I said, the baby of the zodiac. Aries is like a lone wolf, and it's really like the archetype of self-discovery. It's the I am. It is the I. And it's all about like learning new things. It doesn't have awareness, or it doesn't have any experiences previously, because it was in the cosmic womb when we were in Pisces. So with Aries, it's all about like I learning as you go. And it's connected to our bodies. And Aries is all about like it's a fire energy, and it's cardinal. So cardinal means like new beginnings, which is very Aries. And fire is all about like passion. And Aries gets fueled by its passion, okay? It sees something and it's very instinctual, and it's all about going straight away. However, along comes Saturn. And Saturn, as I said, it's not about going fast, it's about taking your time, being committed, being devoted. Because if you don't take your time and you don't take responsibility, Saturn comes and makes you feel restricted, bound, and limited. So, and so with Saturn, what it's asking us is, as I said, Aries is connected to our instincts. It's that gut feeling, and it's like going fast, okay? But Saturn's like, no, you have an idea. You are not to run with it straight away. We're going to step into that general energy, and you are going to make a plan, and you are going to create a strategy, and you are going to create structures. And this is very much connected to, like, if you think of like businesses, Aries is associated with our brand, okay, and Saturn is connected to being serious. So this is very much saying you're not just going in business, like you're not just going to like have an idea and then just run with it. You are going to get very, very serious on your business, on your brand, on who you are as an entrepreneur. And you're gonna take it serious now, because Saturn is saying you need to take being an entrepreneur serious, taking your brand serious, taking your business serious, by having structures, by having strategy. So it's like, if you have an idea, you're not to run away, you need to get structures and strategies in place. And the more you take your brand serious, the more you take yourself as an entrepreneur serious, the more you take your business serious, and start putting structures and strategies in place, the more the Saturn will reward you. Okay. And like as I said, I have this aspects happening in my chart. So I know very much, I have like multiple experiences of like having this Aries idea, a new idea, and just like running with it without having a plan, without having a strategy, and Saturn slaps me in the face and says, "You're not going anywhere." I'm not reaping what I sow, because I didn't have a plan. Like, I felt limited, I felt restricted, I felt like I'm not going anywhere. But it was because I didn't take Saturn's advice. I didn't take it serious. I didn't put strategy in place. I didn't put structure in place. And I mean, I have learned, I'm only starting to implement this lesson now. So I have multiple experiences of falling flat on my face, because I didn't take that Saturn energy with that Aries idea. Um, so from personal experience, I know what this means. So staying on track with this brand, okay? So for a lot of us, if we are in the spiritual industry, we are all about like just going with the flow. And like, yeah, I'm just gonna go with the flow. I don't know anything about business, and that's grand, because like God is going to lead me. Um and or like whatever your name, for gods, your angels, ancestors, whatever. However, that's not going to work, because we are moving into this new cycle. And it's very much, yes, we are devoted to our purpose. When we are spiritual entrepreneurs, we lead by the heart, so we are devoted and we are committed to that purpose. However, for a lot of us, we're in that feminine energy, like yeah, I'm just gonna go with the flow. Aries is the divine masculine energy, which is all about like taking action. And it's not about like I'm just gonna go with the flow and it's gonna work. It's not. It's actually like when we are co-creating with God, the universe, whatever, you have to take inspired action. And that's what I'm really like, this is what Saturn in Aries is actually showing us. But what I'm really feeling right now as I speak, okay, as I said, the Saturn is associated with the divine masculine archetype. And so action, right? So that can feel very, very limited with Saturn here, right? But what I'm getting is, yeah, and it actually couldn't have to making sense. It came through earlier. It was like Saturn is all about priorities as well. So if you think of like us entrepreneurs and like yeah, us entrepreneurs, whether you're spiritual or not, we have like multiple ideas, and we may get like pulled in like 100 different directions, okay? But because of like our energy, because Aries is associated with our energy, Saturn being here, it can become very, very limited, okay? Our energy can become limited. But what it's asking us is to prioritize and to focus on what is actually going to move the needle forward and what is actually a part of our purpose. And anything that is not needs to go. And again, this is about a new beginning. Okay, so you need to prioritize and focus your energy and action on like that task or that idea, or like, and you need to be serious and committed to it. Because our energy may feel very, very limited. So this is where like if your energy is limited, you've only like a certain amount of energy that you do have to make sure that you are prioritizing and focusing on the right action steps to get to your goals, because Saturn is connected to our goals. So what I would just wanted to, what I would, and this, and Saturn is also connected to our body. So movement, Aries is very, very important. Okay, so it's asking us like to take responsibility and to like to move as well, like move our bodies. Okay, but again, just coming back to that limitations. Okay, Aries is connected to our body. So with Saturn being here, like our body can actually feel quite limited. And when I was tuning in, I was told to share this story, right? And it's very Saturn in Aries, and I only realized it. So I have my lower back is really, really tight. And when I went to the physio a couple of months ago, he gave me a lot of back exercises, lower back exercises, and told me to do them daily. And I mean, they probably would have only taken 10 minutes. I wasn't. And then, and I also go dancing as well. So there is a lot of like movement and stretching. So the other day, my lower back felt sore and I was like, right, I'm gonna do some of the exercises. But I overstretched and I knew I was overstretching. And that was Monday, and it's now Thursday, and my back is still sore. Like yesterday, and this is very, and I'll get to the Saturn in Aries thing now. Um, like even yesterday, I couldn't go, like I haven't been able to go for walks. I walked down to the coffee shop, it was about 5 minutes away, and then I tried to walk. I could only go for that 5 minutes, and by the time I got home, like it's so so sore. And I have dancing tomorrow night, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to go. But coming back to the Saturn in Aries, right? So I knew, like my body, very Aries, was feeling restrictive. My lower back was sore. If I had of actually doing daily stretches, I wouldn't have had this problem. So if I had to take responsibility and stretched my lower back daily, I wouldn't have this problem. But now my body is restricted, Saturn in Aries, and it possibly could be preventing me, it's preventing me from moving. I can't walk. It's possibly preventing me from going dancing tomorrow, and I'm very passionate. Like, I love dancing. It lights me up. It fuels me, which is very Aries, Saturn in Aries, and that's just like, so even when it comes to like taking it to movement, make sure you are moving. So if your body can't move for an hour a day, you start off small. Start off by 10 minutes a day, and then you build it up. And this is exactly what Saturn in Aries is. Um, so it's really calling us to take responsibility, to be serious about our actions. And just coming back to the business thing, so getting back to like our brands, okay? So Aries would be very much connected to our brands. And it's really important now that we start taking our brand identity, taking our identity as an entrepreneur serious. And Aries isn't, as I said, it's the fourth sign of the zodiac, so it's like the baby of the zodiac. So it's very, very like new. It doesn't know responsibility, it's not mature. However, the Saturn is stepping in and it's saying like, this is how we are going to mature our brand, is by taking it serious. So if we go back to like Aries as the divine masculine, if we go back to Aries as like taking action and moving forward, as I said, Saturn wants us to be devoted and committed to our goals, our legacy, our purpose, because that's exactly what Saturn is. And we as business owners, we are brands. We are brands. We are the brand itself. Like, so it's really about like taking it serious and taking and building your brand. Okay, because Aries, as I said, it's the archetype, and archetypes are all about building. It's about building your brand identity and taking your brand and your business serious. And what that's going to do, it's going to help you mature your brand, and it's going to get you closer to your goals. It is going to like help your brand become recognized, because that's exactly what Saturn is. It's about Aries. So we are moving into this new cycle of Saturn in Aries, and because it's a new cycle, it's all about new beginnings. And Saturn is connected to our purpose, our life, long-term vision. It's connected to our goals. So really start to look at your goals and your vision and your purpose may feel different, and that's okay, because we are moving into like this new cycle. So it's really about, I would definitely, whenever you like, you could listen to this when it's published, or you could listen to it in a year, and this is still going to be very, very relevant. So I would sit and reevaluate like your long-term goals and your long-term planning, and it's really very vital that you start to step into that general energy and take your brand and business serious, and take you as a leader serious. You take your leadership serious. And if you say you're doing something, then commit to it. And like really, really be devoted to your leadership. Really be devoted to the business that you are desiring to build. Because as sole entrepreneurs, our businesses are how how we walk our soul purpose, how we walk our soul path. So what's really interesting to me, and it dropped into me today when I was getting ready, and I didn't even realize it. So Saturn moves into Aries on the 26th, Monday the 26th of May. the next day we have a new moon, and the new moon is in Gemini. And Gemini is all about our communication, how we speak. It is selling, because it's ruled by Mercury, so it's associated with commerce. So it's connected to selling. Our offers, our creations that we sell. It's connected to networking and social media. So for a lot of us, so new moons are all about new beginnings and planting new seeds of intention, in order for us to manifest if we work with the mill. Um, but what I really found the interesting was, like, for a lot of us, personal brands, even if it's not a personal brand and it's a corporate brand, for a lot of us, our businesses, our businesses are online, are on social media. So social media is how we share our businesses, how we show up as a leader, and how we social media for a lot of us are like where we sell our offers and how we connect to other people and how we network. So I just really found it interesting that Saturn goes into Aries. Aries the day before the new moon in Gemini. And Gemini is, as I said, it's about communication and it's connected to our message. So I'm like, when I was thinking about this and what was dropping in was like, this is really about us not only taking our brand serious, but what is a part of our brand, our message, our mission, our offers, our social media is a part of our brand. It's how we grow and how we evolve our brand identity and how we connect with others. So I just found it really fascinating to me that, like, just the connection of like taking our brands serious, Saturn and Aries, and being devoted to our businesses and to our leadership, and looking at the strategy and structure and how we're going to evolve and grow our businesses. And then the next day we have the new moon, which is all about communication. And for a lot of us, how we share ourselves, how we share our brand, how we share our offers, whatever, it is through communication. And I really feel like that communication, yeah, and even when I'm speaking about it, I feel that communication is going to be like super important in this. And it's not that, yeah. And again, just coming back, what I'm sensing as well is like being really intentional with what you share on social media, because as I said, like Saturn is associated with prioritizing, and like again, just going back to that airy freeness about we're just throwing up anything on social media. Possibly we don't have a plan, but it's like be intentional and prioritize what you are going to put up, and take it serious, but like also like don't get like stressed out or anything like that. But it's like now you need to take it serious, and even like be so intentional, because that's when you are going to reap what you sow with Saturn. And this is when you begin to thrive and not just survive. And I really definitely feel that that is the theme for Saturn in Aries. So I feel that, yes, I feel like that is just, it's coming to a natural close. So I hope, and I would really say, like, well, like you're listening to this for the first time and you may or may not know things about astrology, and it's a lot of information. So listen and then maybe come back and take some notes, and you may be the same thing in a year or 6 months. So even save this and let me know. I'd love to hear if you enjoyed the video or you listened to the episode, and any takeaways you got and anything that you're going to implement. Make sure you implement some strategies and structures. Um, because you are going to be restricted if not. So have a lovely day, everyone, and I will talk to you soon.